Are you ready?
Yeah?
Okay,
Cool.
we'll go.
First question for you. Who already experienced some difficulties to grasp DDD concept at the very beginning while it was the time to put it into your project or into your code? Yeah? Okay, so you're not alone and we are.
Yeah, and I have to confess I have the same problem. I see a lot of talk about DDD and I try to apply on legacy code. It was not much. Yeah. The reason why we imagine this session.
Absolutely. So as a disclaimer here, we will mostly talk about tactical patterns and most likely talking about ubiquitous language and how to put the language of your domain expert or of your business into your code, much more than strategical pattern. We'll talk a little bit about it, but it's rather a tactical oriented session. Let's introduce ourselves maybe before, Bruno?
Sorry?
Let's introduce ourselves.
So I'm Bruno Boucard. I'm come from Paris. I'm coach. I'm teaching TDD, DDD, all DDD, and I'm in charge of BDD meetup in Paris.
Okay, my name is Pierrain, use case driven on Twitter. I'm working in software since 18 years, and I'm also co-organizer of the DDD Paris meetup. I'm kind of obsessed by use cases and problem space, because I think we jump too soon into the solution space with all our golden hammers and stuff like that, our solutions. So this is one of my obsessions. Okay, we have some gifts for you. So we have 2 books.
2 Bibles.
The blue one and
the blue one and the Refactoring by Fowler.
So to win those books, you will have to tweet as hell during this session using the hashtag DDD EU,
yes.
Thank you. We have a referee here, so he will have a look at that hashtag and the most funny tweet, or you can quote, you can take picture, you can do jokes about us, about you, whatever, and Jérôme will tell us the 2 winners at the end of the session. All right?
Okay, fine.
Cool. So our domain for today will be train. Train is kind of large, actually, so we will focus more on the seat reservation optimization.
Yeah.
You're just in front of.
Yeah.
Here, it's the model of a train which has 3 coaches, coach A, coach B, and coach C, which has some seats already reserved in the orange, empty seats in white, and here we are asking 6 seats to be reserved in that train in blue. This is a simple model, but that may help to illustrate something. Okay, we have 2 business rules for today for the system. The first one is we should not reserve more than 70% of the entire train capacity. Okay, so this is the first rule, business rule, and the second business rule is when I want to reserve, I want all my seats into the same coach. We don't want to split families and friends between coaches, right? Simple. We are taking those rules from Emily Bash Train Qatar reservation, and we put some crappy code on top of that, but okay. Our domain expert couldn't manage to be with us in Amsterdam today, but we talked a lot with him before, previous weeks. So he talked a lot about train, he talked about train ID or identifier, he talked about seats, coaches, reservation attempt, and whether or not either or not a reservation attempt is fulfilled, and in order also to book.
We find to booking reference. We explain what is it. Reservation failure. That's the word from the expert domain.
In all the sessions we have with it, those words were the kind of ubiquitous.
Yeah.
So we will work for a startup company, which name is Train. They provide a seat reservation service, which is basically a web API. And this web API, to do its work, he has to rely on external backends provided by external companies. So in France, it's SNCF. So the first backend provided by SNCF, which is external to our company, it's the train data. Basically, it's a train topology service, meaning we provide a train identifier, and we get back the topology of the train, meaning all the coaches, and for every coaches all the seats, and for every seat, whether or not it's available or already reserved.
Yeah.
Okay? Quite easy. Second one is the booking reference. This is a kind of tricky one because...
Not tricky. When you buy a ticket, you have an ID on your train ticket. This is the ID, actually.
Yeah, but this is a service that only provides a unique identifier. So we can't book anything with that. All we can do is to get a unique identifier to play with. And once our seat reservation service on the left will have get a topology, find available seats, then getting a booking reference, we will actually book the reservation through the national train operator service, through that last train booking service. All right? In terms of, we are kind of downstreams. We are a tiny startup in that open market that has been opened recently. So these are the backend provided by the national train operator. Is it okay for all of you?
It's clear.
We will continue. Maybe Bruno can do a demo of the web API.
So
it will take a few seconds to switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I use Postman with, you can see the URL to call the web API. And we can see the body, the payload with two fields. Train ID is the identifier of the train, and the number of seats requested. Okay. So
if you post,
yeah,
that one.
Take a while.
Still loading.
Yeah.
Okay, and
we have something.
An answer.
The answer. The first is a train ID. Okay. Second one is a famous booking reference allocated by the service, as Thomas described before, and the list of seats we get in back. Okay.
Okay. So basically, that's quite simple way to interact with our system.
Yeah.
It's on no, c'était number 2.
This one.
Okay. Basically, we have a problem, and this is the reason why we are here today. Train startup called us because they face recurrent penalties, excess of penalties by the National Train Operator Service. Why? Every call you made on all those backends, you pay fees. So that means that train startup, every time you call one of those web API is charged from fees. So they were expected to do so, but they think they are paying too much. So they ask us to have a look at the code and to see what may be the reason, and can we troubleshoot and fix if you have something to fix. Okay? But before touching any legacy code, if you are like Bruno and I, what would you recommend us to do? Test? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, this is the reason why we missed the keynote. We have built a test harness this morning, discovering the code and trying to highlight all those business rules. So we've made so far 3 acceptance tests.
Yeah.
First one.
First one is a happy pass. We have a train with only one coach, with 10 seats, and we won't allocate or reserve 3 seats. And as you can see, it's exactly what I do with Postman.
Yeah.
And we have exactly the same answer. Okay.
Simple happy pass. Okay. Second one is the.
Yeah, this is the first business rule. We can exceed 70% for reservation in all the train. And if we ask 2 seats, and you can see I already 6 seats reserved.
Here.
And because I apply the rule.
So 70% is 7 seats in a train of 10 seats.
The way to respond to an error is this one. I get the train ID, but the booking reference is empty, and the list of the seats is empty.
This is how Tron is telling us, no, reservation has been made for you. Okay? And the third test was highlighting the all seats must be in the same coach, please. The second business rule. And in that case, we found a bug. We found a bug because we asked here we have a train with two coaches, and one is almost full, the other is completely free. And when we ask 2 seats, actually we get here 1 seat in coach A, 1 seat in coach B, which was unexpected because we don't want to split families and friends. So we are thinking about that with Bruno, and we're saying that it may explain something related to the fees. Do you have some ideas about what may explain the extra fees?
Imagine you use the website, you call the service, and you prepare a trip with your family or your girlfriend, boyfriend. What's happened?
Maybe you want to cancel your reservation because you cannot sit
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To cancel. The answer is to cancel because I'm not pleased to have 2 seats in 2 different coaches, so I will cancel. Maybe retry it. Cancel, retry, cancel, retry. At the end of the day, I will switch to another provider. I will left Train-Train. Poor experience. But that may explain that because every attempt will be charged actually. So that was our hypothesis. And we discussed it with the domain expert through phone, and he said, yeah, that might be the one. So please, guys, can you please fix that bug? So we are here to fix that bug all together, and we will ask you to help us in that journey. So what would you recommend to fix that bug? What would be your strategy? Yeah?
Is it, are you the only service who is calling the train data service?
Sorry?
Are you the only service provider who is calling train data service?
We are the train data service, train reservation service on the left, on the orange. Here, okay, we are only working on that seat reservation in yellow.
Yeah.
These are dependencies, we don't have leverage on that, actually.
Are you the only consumer for these services?
No.
Yeah, not only consumers.
No, we compete with other companies. We are a startup and we compete with other companies.
We need some information from those 2, and we need to set and to confirm and to book to make a transaction with that guy. So these are the kind of interaction we have. So in terms of strategy, what would you recommend?
Write a test.
Write test.
Yeah, write a test. So actually we already wrote a test, so that highlighted the bug, so we'll have to fix that test, basically. Okay? So let's dive into the code.
Yeah.
Bruno has set a breakpoint. You can call it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask him it. It's launch in debug mode. So here, if you just slide to the left side of the screen, it's a web, it's a C# code, it's a ASP.NET Core API. It's simply for those that are doing Java, Spring Boot, etc. It's simply for when we request that post on that resource with that name, we get that callback. So, and it's a reservation request DTO we receive.
Just to have a look on the DTO, it's very simple, exactly the payload of the JSON.
Absolutely. And so after that, we instantiate, if you can slide to the left, so yeah, thank you. So we instantiate a web ticket manager, which seems to be the entry point of the system, and we call reserve method on it, providing the train ID and a number of seats requested. Okay, so this is what we have tested so far. If we have a look at the test that is failing, we have 3 tests. These are kind of acceptance tests. We consider the system as a black box. And we send some requests and we check the answered in JSON.
The last one is a test that demonstrates the problem. Okay?
So why? We have a tool that is named nCrunch. We see every time we change something, we type something, we change the code, it will run the test in background, execute it, and provide us a feedback loop with a colored arrow on the margin. So green is fine, and red there's a problem. And there is an arrow in red. Bruno, if you can have an overview of the arrow. It's basically it's the problem. We were expecting to have 2 seats in 1B and 2B, and actually we get
10A and 1B.
So this is the bug we discussed earlier. Okay?
Okay.
For everyone? I think it will be a good thing to start to have an overview of what the reserve method is doing.
Oh, yeah, I just align the code for you.
Let's have a first overview. We discovered that this morning, so we have a little bit much more knowledge about it. So I will try to help you to have an overview. First, we instantiate a list of available seats that should be probably the return of the method. Then we call a getTrain on a train data service. And we get something like we call JSON train. Yeah, maybe it's a JSON topology. We will see that after. Yeah. Then we instantiate a train instance from that JSON topology. And on that train instance, we do some business rules here and there. So here if the number of seats already reserved in the train plus the number of seats I'm being requesting is below something like get max res. Let me check. It should be some percentage or something like that. Yeah, 70%. Yeah. Okay, 70% of the overall train capacity. So if I respect the first business rule, I continue with number of reserve. Okay, 0 seems to be an accumulator variable here. And we iterate to find some available seats. An available seats in that system is the one that a booking ref is empty. So we have a property, and if it's an empty string, that means that the seat is available, and then we can add it into the list that we will return at the end of the method. Still okay for you so far? Yeah? Okay. Then we have a kind of stupid for each. We will see that in a second. Then what do we have? Yes, if we can't find the number of seats requested, what do? We get the answer, the answer that is saying basically we can't reserve.
Remember, it's a failing
message. Response. If it works, that when we call the booking reference service, the one in the middle on the right side, and call get booking reference, then we assign that booking reference to every one of the available seats that we have found so far. We had a bunch of accumulators here. And then again, it's pretty much the same if you look at...
Yeah, it seems similar. No, the first one is negative.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's not really the same, but if it's still okay, we use a cache. Yeah. Interesting. We'll see that why, okay. And then what we actually this is the one that is making the booking,
This is the transaction actually.
It will be the external web API we call to book a seat. If I enter to that, let me check here the implementation. Yeah, basically we call a web API. Yeah,
plenty JSON to call the web API.
No real interest in that. And it seems that if we don't have any kind of exception here, what do? We return the answer. And the answer is the one dumping the list of seats we have found so far. Okay. And in the case here, what was it? In the case, yes, in the case of the train capacity limit has been exceeded, we return the empty. You can't reserve anything in that train.
It's a failure.
Okay for every one of you. We will make a few review while working on it. But do you have some feedback about that so far?
Why are you string concatenating to create JSON?
What are we string concatenating to create JSON? Actually, this is not our code, as a disclaimer. This is the code we discovered this morning. So yes, but this is a good remark. Why do we serialize attend a JSON here in the middle of something that is expected to be some kind of business logic?
Yeah.
Prove it with the git blade.
Sorry?
Prove it with the git blade.
They don't even use Git in that project anymore, so I can't do that. Yeah?
Maybe I think the business logic is quite intermixed altogether in one function.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is a strategy we will try to apply with you. We try to discover the domain expert concept through this code.
And then we try to figure out how can we improve that, because so far there is something that really bothered me. We were talking about the domain expert talking with us with tons of concepts. Can you see, apart the train and the concept of seed, do you see any other concept of the domain? There is something missing.
Coach is expert.
Coach,
Yeah, coach.
the concept of coach is completely missing here.
And
Other stuff?
Reservation.
Reservation, absolutely.
reservation. No reservation.
No reservation attempt so far. So, who already experienced code like this in his career?
Yes.
Yeah,
some of
okay.
you.
So we are not alone. So the idea here for us will be to have a kind of way of improving it, because since we don't have any kind of coach here, the strategy for us to fix the bug would be to make it emerge. But before that, it's still, there is so much crappy thing in like that. So let's first clean the deck.
Yeah. Do you know the name clean the deck?
The expression clean the deck?
No? Clean the deck is the first phase when you discover a code, because you need to be more confident before to apply a deep refactoring. It's a way to discover, fix a little the name of the variables, for example, and after get into the program.
Yeah, it's a way to prepare a mental model in our head for this code that we didn't wrote.
So, come back from the beginning.
So cleaning the deck, you will have another view, but trying to improve a little bit.
Yeah.
But before that.
Before that.
Yeah.
You have typo in 63.
We have typo in 63.
Yeah, yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's really a legacy code. But you notice something wrong?
We'll fix that.
Yeah, it's red. It's difficult to be confident if my code is red, because if I made a mistake, I don't see the mistake. I prefer to see green my tool. So to do that,
we'll completely ignore the test illustrating the bug.
Yeah, it's a good technique if you are in the same situation when a test failing.
And you need to refactor just before fixing the bug. You ignore that test illustrating the bug, so that it's green, you have a test harness. You refactor, and then you enable back the test to fix the bug. So this is what you're doing. White
it's meaning
points,
we don't run the
dead
test.
code.
Yeah.
We don't execute it.
And now I'm green. Yes.
So,
Question: isn't it better to create a test which tests the current behavior? Because when you're refactoring, you want to basically maintain the current behavior.
Yeah.
So by creating a new test, instead of ignoring the old test,
Absolutely.
by creating a new test which tests the current behavior, you can't basically break it.
Yeah. There's a technique that I like a lot, which is a golden master. Golden master is you take a legacy code, you clone it, and you write acceptance test. Every time I send that input into the legacy code and the new instance, which is the one I will working on, I'm expecting to see the same output on both instances. So that without even understanding the legacy, I can have a test harness enforcing me I don't break any existing behavior. So this is a strategy that we could have done, but here we are implementing the business rule as the domain expert told us. So we will stick to that point for now. But yes,
it's a good remark.
It's a good way of refactoring.
So
let's clean the deck, Bruno.
Yeah, the first variable, there's no typo available. Sit. I would just have a look where it's used.
Far from the usage.
Yeah, far. So maybe I can decide to move this one
close to the usage.
Close to the usage. Here, for example.
In the back of the room, can you see all the code?
Because my test is running in real time, I know I'm not breaking the code.
Still green.
Okay. the behavior of the C programmer, because I was a C programmer, it was to put all the variables at the beginning of the code. But right now...
So this is your...
No, it's not mine.
Okay.
Okay, second one is count. Count. So
what a name.
Yeah. Count. Wow.
What a stupid loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looping on a list. Actually, the list has a property count. It's exactly the same number.
So, we have a hint here. It's unused. Maybe the previous developer wanted to say something, but...
So, what can I do is maybe to use available seat and apply count property.
Yes, because at the end of the for each loop, count will have the same value as available seat.
And I can remove this one. Okay.
Cool. A little bit. How many screens high do we have before we
we can check. Yeah.
1, 2,
2.
2.5. Or?
2.5.
Well,
yeah.
So that was another thing that bothered me. If you have a method like that.
Okay. Okay. This is a call for the trend topology. Maybe we can rename it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trend topology?
Yeah, trend topol, or maybe you can...
topology, it's better.
Topology.
Domain expert was talking about trend topology, so if
it's better.
Start to be the smart guys.
Okay.
Shortening, it's not...
Trend instance.
We asked the domain expert about that. He said, no, I'm not aware of any train inst in my domain, so should have been train instance maybe. So let's rename it into train.
Yeah.
So you instantiate a train from a train topology, okay.
Yeah. What's this guy? Number of
maybe you can just put it here for people in the back.
Okay.
See everything.
Yeah. You see this one?
Number of reserved.
Yeah.
Is it used?
Yeah.
It's used.
It's a pattern actually. we use variable for nothing and
just in case the collection.count is wrong, maybe you can have a maybe that was the intent. I don't know. No, so, sometimes we don't have to try to understand. This is just silly stuff.
Okay.
So
I can remove
this
one.
Is it still used?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get rid of it.
I get rid of this one.
Okay, you can delete it.
Yeah. Maybe
each. No.
Each is fabulous.
Each. It sits, I guess. From a collection of seats, we get a seat. And if the seat has
this is a typo. Reserve set. We don't talk about set.
We ask the domain experts also. Do we reserve set or they say no? So
this is a loop too, but never use.
We already see that kind of variables, declarators in the code, not ever used anymore. Or? Yeah, legacy code is full of that kind of stuff, and it's kind of polluting our mind.
This one, have a look at this one. We have a
if here, and we have all pretty much the same if, but the inversed.
Yeah, just
we like symmetry.
Yeah.
It's much better to in order to compare stuff. So I suggest that you inverse the if.
It would be a good idea.
Top.
Yeah.
Alt enter, invert if, and then we can see it's pretty much the same.
I will
doing
select
too fast. No, wait, just to illustrate it. Because here, as you can see, there is one if here, and pretty much the same here. So the idea, since there is nothing in the middle, we can cut the code into the if below and put it into the at the end of the first if.
This one, just at the end, to respect the algorithm.
So it will simplify a little bit the code structure. So it's green and green, yeah. Okay. So now you can
read.
Why are you doing that?
Because
it's white.
Yeah, end crunch, when the code is not covered, put a white bullet.
Indicator.
Yeah.
Means the code for us.
This one is not necessary too. Yeah.
Okay, so you can remove some lines. So I think we earn some space. Or
Yeah, maybe this one can be close to
the usage. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you close the declaration to the usage.
It's not perfect, but we change a little bit, not so more. It's not really a deep refactoring, but just to be more confident.
It's the first round, it's the first pass on the code.
Yeah.
We are improving our mental model about it and trying to clean up some mess. Okay.
Something bother you?
Yeah. Can you see what's still bothering? Okay, it's still very procedural code. One method, 2 screen high, and doing this, and then doing that, and then doing this. Okay. Kind of transaction script. Yeah.
The comment could be turned into a method to find the seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here, the get the train is useless. I suggest that we cut it.
Yeah, it's better.
Because we.
Now the problem is we instantiate a train, but this one normally have to return a domain object and not a kind of JSON.
Yeah, we will see that. A train data service is a kind of proxy towards the external web API. We will make into a adapter, following the port and adapter pattern hexagonal architecture that we will have an overview before that, so don't worry if you are not aware of that. But instead of returning a string of JSON, let's make that method returning us a train instance.
Yeah.
So that we can get rid of JSON within the reserve method and to make it more domain and purely domain, not mixing technical stuff with functional domain stuff. Okay so for you? Yeah? Still? Okay.
So I discover the file. There is a constructor of the train.
So this is a train, okay.
Yeah. We see a lot of stuff to deserialize JSON.
It's even ad hoc deserialization.
I visit the file actually. This one is not used.
Delete it.
Yeah, I can. Oops. Alt sup.
Save delete, okay.
This one is never used too.
Let's delete it also.
This one is gray. Can remove.
Okay. And you can split into various files maybe.
Yeah, it will be better.
So here we are in a train class.
Yeah.
And train class does not have tons of behaviors, I would say, except by parsing a JSON.
Yeah, maybe I
within its constructor.
So this one constructor.
More idiomatic C#. Okay. It's a property we're using a lambda.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will move this one.
So these are the member variables. These are the properties or the fields in a.
Okay.
And then all we have is a constructor with only technical stuff. So what would you suggest? Refactoring, yeah? Should we keep...
remove the whole JSON parser?
Yeah, you're right.
Because it can be automated.
Yeah.
Have the nodes up there.
There is a bell allocations to do some JSON parsing, but the train, which is part of the domain, and we should not do that here.
Okay.
So let's do that. So, Bruno.
Yeah. Okay. So to do that, I have to create a method to encapsulate the code I want to move. Okay.
This is something that we will do a lot. Extract and move. Extract a method, extract that behavior into a method, and move into the proper location. We'll do that a lot during that session. First time we will do it.
Okay. I take all the code I want to remove.
To extract.
This one is okay?
This one is better. No. You're one more.
Oh, okay. No. This one. Okay. Because the screen is very high. Okay.
So extract a method from that, and it still will be instance method from now.
Adapt train topology.
Because while parsing the JSON, the thing is setting some value to the property of the train. It's an instance method here. So Bruno is extracting into a new method.
Yeah.
Public to be able to move it and still continue to use it.
Yeah. a good way to see if I have some dependency, because I want to move this one, but I don't want to have dependency from this one. I want it to isolate. So I use static, and I have some squeeze. Squeezes here and here, because this is it's an instance.
This is where we try to change the instance, the current instance. So see if it's static, it's made some error.
Yeah. So
how can we
cut
those
relationship
with the instance?
Return a new instance of train.
So you can change this into a factory method, which returns a train.
Yeah, but to remove the dependencies.
Those two. Well, actually, we are trying to.
Sorry.
You can send the dependency as an argument.
Send the dependency as an argument. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
But there is something that we can do also. It's so far the if is not null and empty, then I increment the reserve seat. Instead of changing that value of reserve seat from that point, we may be able to code the behavior within the property. And every time I call the property is doing the test. So it may be one way of doing it.
So
what do you think?
Yeah.
Let's try that. And
so here,
reserve seat here, instead of letting the method changing the value, it will be something like
seat.
Return on that collection of seats, those that has
where not where count.
Not null or empty.
Something like that, yeah.
Return. So it's a kind of link queue for those that are much aware of Java streams. It's a more declarative functional way of dealing with collection and with enumerables.
It's reserved, so it's not.
So here Bruno is writing something like, I take the list of the seats and I count every seats where that lambda is valid, meaning all seats where they don't have a booking reference null or empty.
So
okay,
I can suppress this one.
So now you can get rid of that. It will be done at the other level.
And this one, maybe I can make, as you propose, something similar.
Instantiate a list of seats.
Oops,
and transform that method into a function, actually, because it may be a static function.
Yeah. So I have a seat. I will change the signature. I make a list
of seats.
Seat. Okay. And then here I
change the local variable instead of
saying okay. And now I return seat.
So we transform that method into a function so that where we call it, we get the result directly. So seats, we adapt train topology. This is the first step because we have to move it into the proper location. Why is it red? Is it because it's
because
it's running? Yeah, it's a matter of
time.
Of time. Eventually, it turned to green. Okay, maybe so you extract the method, you make it static function, so we can move it kind of easily. Let's put it. If you get back to the reserve method, where it has been called.
Yes.
WebTicket manager.
Yes.
Here we have a get train.
Yeah.
So it may be interesting, instead of having a JSON topology to get the train.
To return the train.
So maybe we can put that static function into the train data service.
Yeah.
So let's move. So you move the method into the train data service. Okay.
Yeah. Done.
So far, we still have an awkward dependency in the train class, but we will change it in a second.
Yeah.
So you make it to a public with a...
Yes, and the goal is to change this one.
The get train.
The get train. I will change the signature.
So instead of returning a task of string, task is before it's async way of requesting a web API, so it's a kind of accidental complexity, but
okay.
What you have to read is it's return a train.
Yeah, it will be better. For the business part, I have to take the train already instantiated.
Okay.
So
new train.
New train.
From that topology.
But the train don't take the topology. We want to adapt the JSON, so we call adapt train topology. But currently, the train don't receive.
Yeah, we have to change that also.
Yeah, I have to change that also.
Instead of that, let's accepting a list of seats.
Yes.
So to instantiate a train, we will accept a list of seats, which will be much more easy to instantiate, to play with.
Yeah, and remove this one.
So we don't have any kind of references from the train to any kind of train data service or infrastructure code, you know? So that's...
So now I can take this one.
So get train now is returning a train instance, so we don't need that anymore.
I can remove this one.
And here we have some, okay.
Yes.
Much better. We ask the train data service to get a train, and we get a train instance.
I compiled because maybe I have break something.
It's something that bothers me with encrunch. Is even if it does not compile, it's still green.
Yeah.
It's a kind of bug, I would say, but so Bruno has compiled. Yes, this is within our test. Within our test, we have made some helpers to instantiate train from a given JSON for a given topology, and this is where we have to do the same. We have to adjust the previous code that we are expecting to the former signature, the previous signature, to the new one. So should compile
something.
Yeah. Okay.
Just verify.
Compile.
I don't break anything.
Okay, it's okay.
It's okay. We come back to.
Let's get back to the result. Okay. So thank you, Bruno.
Yeah.
Actually, we move a technical code that were part of the train, and we put it into a proper location, which is part of the infrastructure. So I'm much better. I'm much more comfortable with that code, but there's still lots of things that bother me. For instance, let's see the train. Okay, you clean the deck, you improve the situation, but okay, this is a train. What is it? It's a pure data class without any kind of behaviors, without any kind of responsibility. And I'm not aware, maybe it's Fowler or Craig Larman that has said once, this kind of object is kind of a teenager object or child object. He has to take responsibilities somehow. and he has to, let's do that. Also, we have a concept of seats.
Yeah.
Seats. Wow.
This one is not used.
There is a name for that.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a name for that kind of domain. Do you have an idea of what it is? Anemic domain. Yeah.
Anemic domain. Yeah.
Completely anemic domain. Yeah. There is a. So we are lacking all the concept of the domain within our code, but when we have kind of anemic, stupid data class.
Yeah.
And all the behaviors in that reserve method, kind of transaction script here, very procedural, doing all the logic. What I suggest, if you agree, is to try to cap some behaviors and to put it in the proper location and try to muscle our child objects.
Yeah, but
with behaviors.
Muscle, maybe you can show something about how to check.
Yeah, maybe we have a slide. I guess this is it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just since we will do it a lot, let's see visually what we will do. We have a class A, a class B. Class A is the web ticket manager reserve method, for instance, and the class B is, like, say, the train. So what we will do a lot is to extract code, to extract the behavior into a method. So then we will have a method into the same type, and then we will move it into the proper location, the train, for instance. And at the end of the day, we will have more equilibrated
good balance between
domain and stuff like that. Okay, so let me switch back to the code. So I suggest that we will do that. Okay. If train reserve seats plus it's the first business rule. A train should not exceed maximum capacity of the train. I suggest that we extract a method here that maybe does not exceed overall train capacity, something like that. Are you okay, Bruno?
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
capacity. Sorry. I will make a non-static method, a public one, to be able to move it easily. So here I extract that big if with that method. Where should I move it, according to you? The train, yeah. And there is a hint. If I've said F6 to move, Richard Perry is saying, okay, you pass an argument, a train instance as an argument, so you can easily move that behavior to the train. Okay, do. Train, I have the train does not exceed overall train capacity if I want to request that number of seats. Okay. Actually, what we have here is available seats. We are building a list of available seats.
Yeah.
So let's call a method with find available seats. For instance, find available seats. Okay, non-static, public also, we will move it. So here, if the train does not exceed, if our request does not exceed the maximal train capacity, we find some available seats. Actually, there is a concept that we may introduce here instead of that. What do you think?
This can be a property on train.
This can a location?
No specification.
A specification? Yes.
Maybe you want seats in a certain car or a certain...
Yeah, a certain coach. At the end of the day, we will need to have seats in a given coach. But before that, the domain expert was talking a lot about reservation attempt. It's a really important concept for him. So I suggest that we, instead of just dealing with available seats, a list of seats, let's build an instance of reservation attempt from that part.
You don't use NDPen?
Ah, yes. We
you
missed something.
Yeah.
Good to know. Before we are improving the code, Bruno has something to show you.
Yeah. Maybe some people know NDPen. It's a tool to check the dependencies, but it exists architect for Java or C++.
Basically, it's an analysis tool.
Yeah,
it's analyzing your code and raising some warnings or error. And we were working with Patrick Makia, a creator of NDPen.
Yeah.
And we asked him to introduce a way to check that code base follow the ubiquitous language, follow the language of the domain.
It's a prototype. It's not a release, and we try to imagine you have a team, you have a legacy code, and you know the vocabulary of the domain expert, and we create a rule. It's called your code should rely on your ubiquitous language, and we see we have some problem. And as you can see, we have the list of problems and the word not matching correctly.
Where is the vocab?
The vocab is there.
So we have to enter a list of words that are part of our domain, like train, coaches, seat reservation, fulfilled, etc., etc.
Currently, we have to define this list for each domain you want, and the tool will try to check that.
So it's still in alpha, but I think it would be an interesting way to make some audit of some code.
It's to have a kind of code smell about that. Okay.
Okay. So run it. What was the result? It was 3.
Yeah, but I don't run the rule actually.
Okay. So let's get back to the business. We have some list of available seats. I suggest that we change that. You change the signature of that by introducing the concept of reservation attempt. So here, instead of returning a list of seats, let's make it return a reservation attempt. Oh, sorry, I've got a typo here. Reservation attempt. Thank you. Okay. Okay, the type does not exist, so yes, I'm aware of that. Maybe I will rename it also, but here, as you can see, sorry, reservation attempt, where is it? Oh, there is a, sorry, here. Yes, the reservation attempt type does not exist yet, so let's create it. Alt-Enter, create type reservation attempt, okay. And here, since the function is expecting to return me that kind of reservation attempt, all I have to do is to instantiate here at the end, return a new reservation attempt, okay, providing it the list of seats I just found. All I have to do is to create the constructor accepting a list of seats for that reservation attempt, okay, and that's it. Maybe reservation attempt, I will need to work with the seats. So let me, instead of creating a field, let me rename that. It will be seats. Reservation attempt has a list of seats, yeah. And maybe to introduce a read property because I will need to work with the seats of that reservation attempt. Okay? So we just introduce a reservation attempt which has a property of seats, and that's it, pretty much. So that the find available seats now, the name is maybe build reservation attempt would be better. Yeah. Okay? So now the method is build reservation attempt. It find available seat within the train and return a reservation attempt with that. It's okay for everyone? Is it okay? Yeah? So the code is not compiling anymore because I used to work with a list of seats. So what I need is to rename available seat by reservation attempt, first step, and then to add the indirection to the seats and to work with the list of the seats of the reservation attempt. So just let me fix that 3 location, F12, ops, dot seats, F12, and last thing, I guess. Okay, yeah. That should compile. Let me check. Okay, it's compiling. It's still green. So here, what I just did is to create a concept that is directly come from the domain, a reservation attempt, and replace a simple list of seats by it. Okay. What can I do here? Reservation attempt.seat.count. Here, it's like saying dot the reservation attempt, or is the reservation attempt fulfilled? The domain experts were talking a lot about that. So let's create a method for that. Extract and move. Is fulfilled. More complicated for me is to find how to write in English. Okay, I think it's okay for that. So we ask the reservation attempt, are you fulfilled? So first extract, still on that class, and then to move it to the reservation attempt. So I extract a behavior and I put it into the proper location, which is a reservation attempt.
That's something bothers me because you pass twice the seat request count. You notice?
Yeah.
You pass there and you pass here.
Actually, you can provide the seat requested count once when we construct the reservation attempt, so that we don't need anymore to ask to provide it every time we want to check if it's fulfilled or not. Let's do that. Okay, I agree. Go to implementation. Seat requested count, I will provide it into the constructor of the reservation attempt. Here. Okay. Sorry, I think I did a huge mistake. Sorry. Okay, so I changed the constructor of the reservation attempt. Alt-Enter, add parameter to the constructor. Yes, please, sir, do that. And seat requested count, here what I can do is simply to keep a read-only field, meaning it's not public, it won't be accessible by the outside world, fully encapsulated. And now I had it, what I can do is to leverage on that instead of the one that is provided as argument in the isFulfilled. So here I replace it, the parameter with the internal field, and now I can get save delete this parameter. Since I'm in C#, I can transform it into a property, an expression body. Okay, let's move that. No, I think it's okay. Okay. So here, getting back to the isFulfilled usage, you see, I'm on a reserve method. I ask to build a reservation attempt to the train. Oh, maybe
you don't move the build on the train.
Build reservation attempt should be a method from the train. So let's just extract the method first. So let's move it into the train. So now I can ask the train, please train, build me a reservation attempt with that number of seats I want, get a reservation attempt, and then if it's fulfilled, then I can continue. I can continue to ask the booking reference. Alors, so booking ref is not part of the domain. It said always booking reference.
Yeah.
So let's stick to the domain language in that case. And then what we do is to iterate on every seat of the reservation attempt to assign the booking reference.
Yeah.
Maybe we can extract a method here and put it into the reservation attempt directly, which will be assign booking reference.
Yeah.
Which was the
static.
Yeah. Which was the term of the domain, the exact term of the domain expert. We assign a booking reference to the reservation attempt. Okay. I extract the method. What will be the next change stuff to do? To move, yeah. To move to the reservation attempt. Okay. So we assign booking reference to the reservation attempt. Okay. If we look at the implementation, just for you to follow, we take that booking reference and assign it to every one of the seats of the booking reference. Okay?
Speaking of domain language, wouldn't you think make reservation attempt is better than build reservation attempt?
I was thinking the same thing as you, and the domain expert was really saying that we build, the process is to build a reservation attempt. And at the end of the day, to transform it into a reservation. So yes, but I was the same idea. Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Actually, we thought it's like a technical term, build. We used to use it in technical, but for the domain expert, it was still a concept of his world. So we have a train caching save. Wow. Well, maybe it's time to. Who already have a cache in his application, within his application or legacy code? Yeah, there's cache everywhere. Let's see if it's still relevant here. Okay, we have a declaration of the cache here on the Web Ticket Manager. Then we instantiate it into the constructor of the Web Ticket Manager. Then we clear it. Interesting. We clear it, and Encroach is changing the color, illustrating me that, oh, it takes 3 seconds. Average of 2 seconds to clear the cache. I don't know what it's in there, but okay, I hope it works. And then we save the booking reference and the train ID, okay, into the cache, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's just that.
So a cache where we only save stuff.
But think about our...
No, maybe it was an attempt, an unfinished attempt.
Maybe that, but even if we implement correctly, it's a mistake. As we said before, we compete with other companies. So other companies use the same service. And why we cache our topology
and stuff,
it's a mistake.
They can change it, and so yes, it's kind of stupid thing, I would say. Let's get rid. Let's burn that witch. Up. I remove it. Here. I remove that. And it's
better.
I feel better.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask the domain expert, like, do we guys need caching, or is something that we can safely delete?
Now, this is the kind of discussion we may have with the domain experts. Since it's not here, we call it before, because it's not the first time we run that session, but yes, I agree with that. This is something that we must discuss about the strategy without talking about technical details, but saying that we can memorize stuff that we get at that time. Is it correct, according to you? So, yeah. So okay, we get back to the reserve method. We get a train from a train data service. Then we ask the train, are we exceeded the overall train capacity if we ask 3 seats?
Yeah.
If it's not the case, we build a reservation attempt.
Yeah.
Then we check if it's fulfilled or not, because we may run out of seats if the train is full, for instance, or reach next to the limit. Then we ask a booking reference. Then we assign the booking reference, and then we book the seat.
Yeah.
And then we return the result. I don't know for you, but now the method is one screen high. We are embracing a little bit more the concept of the domain, and we have kind of spreading the behaviors into the proper location. The train now has some behaviors, the seats also, the reservation attempt also. Yes, we can maybe, now what would you suggest? Because it's important to be time boxed somehow, because you can improve code a lot, but from some time we have an objective. So the objective, Bruno, was?
Is to fix the bug.
To fix the bug, yeah.
I would at least add one more
concept,
entity, which is the reservation, and return task of reservations.
Yeah.
Task of
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right. You are saying that what we can is to get rid of that silly JSON here, and instead to return, to transform a reservation attempt into a reservation, and then return a task of reservation here, so that the reserve method is purely domain, no string JSON inside, simply returning a reservation instance. We'll do that. We'll do that in a second, but before that, we will like to introduce the missing concept.
Yeah.
Because when we build a reservation attempt, here, we build it from the train perspective and not from the coach perspective.
Yeah, we use all the seats, and there is no notion of coach. Okay.
So how to introduce the concept of coach, according to you? What will be your strategy?
It's important to know from the web service that returns the seats if you have this concept already. Otherwise, you got a web service that returns the information from the train, right?
Yeah, the topology.
You don't know the topology that this comes from.
Basically, the topology is taken from the name of every seat. Every seat has a name, including the A1, A2, A3, B4.
A is the name of the coach.
It's the name of the coach. It's an implicit way of figuring out this seat belongs to the coach. Yeah?
That would make the coach totally private at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Good idea, but how to introduce it right now? What will be our next move?
Put it in the train.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but how to do that?
How to do that? We start by, what do you suggest? If you have the keyboard?
Well, the initial point where you know about the coaches is where you start getting the train.
Yes.
So would that not be the starting point?
Yeah, why not? But we will start with the test. Absolutely. Yeah, from the train we will check that a train expose coaches, for instance.
Yeah, for example. So because we totally addict of TDD, and we want to create.
So let's add a train should fixture. Because so far we only have some acceptance tests, like it's a train system should do this, do that. So we have 3 tests.
Sorry,
and here it will be our first unit test, I would say. It's a train should. Maybe it would be should expose coaches, something like that. So we get a train. So train should expose coaches.
Yeah. Oops. I remove this one because I don't need.
So train should expose coaches.
Expose coaches.
So, yeah.
Does the domain actually care about coaches as concept, isn't that?
Yeah, he talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
Actually, he had even in mind some new rules for the related to the coach. He want first us to fix that bug, but because money. But he has some in mind to consolidate and to add new business rules, such as we should not feed a coach more than 40%, for instance. Stuff like that. So it will be the proper location to make it.
But should the coaches be a public property on the train? Like, it seems it's entirely private, so I don't see much benefit in having a test that says we expose the coach.
So far, we will need it. We will need to play with the coach. We need to ask it. But yes, If we want to keep it completely private, implementation details, fully encapsulated, we won't write that.
So just for some explanation, because I use a snake name because we use it in the test to mock some situations. So
but this is a trend topology generator.
Yeah.
It's a helper we have built this morning.
Yeah, it's a way to qualify the topology, and it's good to use because I know in this topology I have two coach, with 10 seats for each coach. So that's the reason why I use this one. Okay.
So in your test, you instantiate a train.
Yeah.
Okay, providing it the train, the list of seats adapted from that train topology. Okay. So let's check
that train.
Train.coaches.
Yeah, oh, sorry. And I hate coaches, but it doesn't exist at this time.
Yeah. We'll need to a size of 2 because we have 2 coaches in that train topology. And you can also check that every coach has 10 seats, maybe.
Yeah.
It won't be coaches. I think it will be like a dictionary for instance.
Okay.
Coaches A, coaches B, something like that.
Okay, I see.
Coach A.
Dot seat?
Dot seats.
Okay, sorry.
As size 10, because every coach here.
Okay.
Just to make it expose the what we have within the train topology.
Okay. So it's time to generate something.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said the dictionary. We have first the name, coach. It doesn't exist yet.
So in the same, you will create a type for coach.
Yeah, I will create because create type.
So here the train will have a list of coach.
Yeah, and now I can
stored as a dictionary.
Yeah.
But
new.
If we have more time, we won't expose it as a dictionary. Also, we will expose it as a read-only dictionary, or even better, a concept, a dedicated type for that. But since we would like to show you a lot of other stuff, we won't do that here. But
to loop on the seat.
So here within the constructor, the ID would be, okay, I've got a list of seats. We said that the name of the coach was an implicit information part of the name of every seat. So for every seat, we just have to check if there is a coach with that name, because seats have a property coach name. And if we don't have an entry in that dictionary yet for that coach name, let's add it to the dictionary.
Link distinct on seats.
Sorry?
Can you use a link distinct on seats?
Yes, we can use a link query on seats.
For the beginning of the algorithm, I prefer to show without link. Okay. And
you instantiate a new coach.
A new coach.
You instantiate a new coach and providing him the name.
Okay.
Seat.coach name maybe. So we iterate on every seats of the train, and for every one of them, we add the relating coach into the dictionary on the fly. And then we have to add the seats. So coach name. Okay.
Okay.
First step. Second step is to add the seat into the coach.
Yeah.
Just.
So coach.
Coaches.
Always the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Seat dot coach name. Maybe I introduce a variable.
Yeah.
We call it new coach. No.
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not? Okay. And new coach. Add seat.
You're doing that for to expose the kind of closure for operation. Don't you want to make it work and then we can refactor something like that?
It's correct now.
Okay.
Okay.
Not the new coach because
no,
it can be that the coach was defined in
okay. Actually, you have to instantiate.
Yeah. Okay. I have to instantiate first. No,
the coach is here.
Yes,
all
coach,
you have to do, yes, coach.
Yeah, coach.
Coach, and on that coach, you add the seats.
Yeah, it's perfect. So, okay. So I had to, I suppose I have a kind of list of seats.
So you are, what Bruno is doing is to make emerge the data structure and thing we will need to make a coach a nice place to find a list of seats, I would say. But there is something that bothers me a little bit in here, but I'll let you finish, maybe.
Yeah, I'm glad to see green. It's not green. I see.
Yeah,
we are green now.
No, does it compile? I think it's not compiling
okay.
anymore, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to expose seats, property.
Yeah, you're right.
Once you
sit,
Alt Enter on the test, from the test.
Yeah.
Encapsulate. And yeah.
Sit. Okay.
So here should be green. Yeah, it's
green.
Okay.
We done. Okay.
Okay, it's green, but I don't really like that kind of. We add a seat into a coach and we change the coach. Actually, if we have more time, there is something that I would like to do. It's even to make it everything immutable. Because what we do is basically when we reserve when we want to reserve some seat, we get a train topology, which is something that we don't own. It's coming from the outside world. We work on it, and I really don't want us to be tempted somehow to keep it in cache, because it will be stupid. And I would like to enforce the fact that when we get a train topology, it should be immutable. All I can do is to work with, to find some information or to build a reservation attempt, but I don't want to allow my mates or new joiners in the team, etc., to break that by introducing a cache and a state where I don't want to be. So if we had more time, what I would like to do is to make everything immutable. The train will be immutable, the coaches will be immutable, and the seats also. And the only thing that will be immutable, which will be the reservation attempt. You see? And from a reservation attempt, which will be a kind of entity, something that has a life cycle and an identity, but that can change over the time. At the end, I will transform the reservation attempt to a reservation. And a reservation will be immutable too. Reservation is a reservation. Yeah, you have a question?
If we at some point touch about how aligning immutability with ease of testing.
Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about benefits.
And ease of reasoning also, etc. So if we get back to the add seat, what I would like is maybe to enforce it. It's to use what we call a closure of operation. It's meaning the coach will have a method which is add seat. Okay, I can add seat into a coach, but instead of mutating me the coach instance, what I would like is for that guy to return me a new coach, a new instance of a coach. So I call a method add seat on a coach instance. All it can do is to return me a new instance with that seat involved, but without changing the previous instance here, where I call the add seats method. So the benefits, it's to foster immutability for closure of operation, but also to reduce coupling. It's easier to move code. Here the coach stand by itself somehow. You know, method on the coach return me new instance of a coach. So if I want to move that, it's more easy than if the coach were related to a new type, which is related to a new type and stuff like that. Okay for everyone?
Okay.
Yeah?
Although I love mutability, like how does it fit in with domain-driven design in terms of if we were to try and talk to the domain expert, would they think in order to add a seat to a coach, you have to create a completely new code? Is it just acceptable?
Yeah. In any case, it's important to discuss with the domain experts. Unfortunately, we used to do that session with one domain expert on stage with us, and we ask some questions. Since he's not here, we note a lot of stuff. So there is a lot of implicit in our heads. But yes, you're right. We should have kind of discussion. But Here it's much more an implementation detail, I would say. It's to enforce the fact that I don't want to store any kind of states relating to something that I don't, that I'm not owner of the topology of the train. I'm just a user, and every time a request is getting back to me, get a snapshot, work on a snapshot through my concept of the domain, and then make a reservation. Okay?
Okay. So,
sorry, very quickly. The add seat method again doesn't actually exist in the domain. You can't just make seats on the coach. So I assume, like, if given more time, you'd pass in the list of seats to the coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Add seats, maybe it's not a proper name.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Thomas.
So let's turn into, instead of changing the coach here, let's return a new instance of coach.
Yeah.
Make it a closure of operation here. So adding a seat doesn't mutate the existing coach, which will only return a new coach instance.
Coach, okay, with the seat name. With what? With a list, a new list.
Yeah.
List of seats.
Actually, this session is based from a session of 3 hours we have made in Paris with the domain expert on stage. 4 hours, I guess, with even storming, with tons of stuff. So we had to pick our fight for that short version of 2 hours. There are many things that we may improve or whatever, but
so
we can enforce the fact that coach, seats, and train are really value types. So we won't go into that. We will only make that coach immutable, but
maybe
there are lots of things to be improved.
I respect the preview signature.
Yes, to avoid the build issue. We implement the same constructor as before.
Yeah.
Okay. So now
we have to fix the call.
Yeah.
One question. What you just did allows somebody to create a coach without any seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because existing code was doing that. So it's baby step, you know. You
this
fix
call. This call is.
This code. So time to change it and to. So the idea will be to get the coach, to add a seat.
So
through it.
New coach for this.
Yeah, new coach, and then to store the new coach variable into the dictionary.
Okay. So.
And it's still red here, but I guess that after saving that new coach value into the dictionary, it will be green again, hopefully.
New coach. That's right.
Looking at the time, okay.
Okay.
That's green.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I think now you are allowing, if you add a seat with a different name, the code will change on the add seat method.
Yeah.
Potential bug.
Sorry?
The add seat method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't check the seat has the same coach name as the
within the test?
No, in the code.
In the coach. Okay.
Add seat.
Do you use seat.name and not
New codes of seat.coach name.
Here?
No, so you get back to the usage, I guess.
Get back.
Where we were?
in the method.
Lower?
In the method, I'm right.
Yeah, so here, if you pass a seat with a different name.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Completely, okay. You can check. It would be an important improvement, yeah, okay.
Okay.
We won't do that because we would like to show you Hexagonal Architecture and lots of other stuff, but yes, you're right.
You're right.
We also have a redundancy of seats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the next point. Actually, we have a train which has exposed a list of seats, and a train exposed a list of coach. But all the seats belongs to the coaches. So what we should do is, instead of having a duplicate collection on the train, instead to have a projection, and the list of seats for the train must be the projection of all the seats of every coach of the train. So let's do that. Select many, something like that.
So
coaches.
Coaches.
Let's take every coach, and return the
value. Select any.
Every seat.
No, it's coach actually. I just see it's better. Seats and to list.
To a new list.
To list.
So this is kind of link queue again, but it's we made a projection. We take all the seats on every coach, and we return it at the list of seats for the entire train.
So we don't this one.
We don't need to set it anymore because it will be a get only property.
Okay.
And okay, we have the coach.
Compile.
Yeah.
Seems good. Yeah. So
maybe we can fix the bug. What do you think?
Yeah. It's so okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good idea. Yes.
Good idea.
The idea is to move the find available seats or the build reservation attempt to the coach level. Because if we ask to the train level, there is no way of properly, there is a way, but it's kind of crappy. So let's delegate it to the coach.
So I'm removing this one.
So we uninure the test, it will be red, and red, green, next step, red, green.
So
let's fix.
Come back to the web ticket. And as you suggest, maybe the
build reservation attempt
is in charge to be modified and to treat something new. So maybe we can change the algorithm, but respect the algorithm but based on the coach.
Yeah.
Okay. So coach.
Let's put that logic of looking empty seats at the coach level.
Yeah.
So for every coach,
so
we will ask you maybe the same thing, build reservation attempt.
I would like to use this one.
Please, coach, build me a reservation attempt if you can.
Okay. And
returning
a reservation attempt.
Okay.
Reservation attempt. It's a reservation attempt equal. It's already there.
So all you have is
and
create
if reservation attempt is fulfilled, okay, then return reservation attempt.
If not, we continue to iterate on the next coach, asking the same thing, and once we have at least one coach providing us its fulfilled reservation attempt, we are happy with that.
So this one is actually the code I would like to implement.
Cut and paste.
Yeah, in this method. So
let's create the methods.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't really like copy and paste, actually, but in that case, it's
so
it's justified.
It's green.
Oh, it's green. So we just fix the bug by doing that. Maybe you can a red, green, refactor.
Yeah.
Maybe you have something to refactor because in the previous build reservation attempt at the train level, we still let some code.
Yeah. So based on what? On
here we have some kind of crappy code. So let's replace it with the link queue request.
Yeah.
So take me please all seats where a booking ref is
empty.
Is empty, null or empty.
String is null or empty. Okay.
I suggest that we will create a method also.
And
take the number of
seat request count.
So here we are projecting a list of seats that are available, and then we have a list of seats and available seats, and then we take the first 3, 4, whatever number we ask.
And I replace this one.
It does exactly the same thing as the for each loop we see here. To prove it, you just have to. You have to get
rid of that.
Get rid of all that.
I take this one to rename. Okay. I remove.
Okay, you remove, and so here.
Oops. I made a mistake.
No, No, it's okay.
It's okay. Okay. I like this.
So what we can do maybe is to interact a method because it will be more domain oriented.
Yeah, yeah.
See, so here.
This one is quite difficult with definition.
Here, okay. Control W.
Yeah.
Extract a method which should be.
Is available.
Is available.
Available.
Since we are working on seats, so non-static public, and we will extract that method and then we will move it into the seat at the seat level.
Yeah.
So move it. So here now, if you can zoom on the link request, we iterate on the seats and we take all the seats that are available, and we take the first number that we needed.
Why are you passing the requested count to the reservation attempt?
We needed that. We introduced that earlier for the each fulfilled. For the reservation attempt to be able to say if it's fulfilled or not.
We obtain a good reservation. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a design choice, it's a trade-off, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are happy because we fixed the bug.
Fix the bug. We kind of improving a little bit the code.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have a tiny point about aggregates.
Yeah.
So just a tiny point about aggregates. Aggregates is a collection of objects, whether entity or value types, treated as a conceptual whole. Can you see some aggregates in here? Train? Yeah. Is coach an aggregate?
Yeah.
Why is that? Yeah, it does not. Some aggregates may be immutable. Actually, it's no, because aggregates need invariant, need business rules, need something to be enforced, I would say. And here, the only really invariant we have is at the train level. I must not exceed 70% of the train capacity limit. This is a business invariant that the coach aggregates has to enforce. When we discussed with the domain expert, he told us that he wanted to add some new rules related to the coach, so that coach must not be fulfilled also must not be exceed a given capacity. Yeah. So in that case, it will turn into an aggregate. Well, it's maybe it's kind of detail, but something interesting. Train, coaches, and seat may all be value types here. As we discussed earlier, if we think about the way we interact with the external backend, we get a kind of snapshot valid at a moment of time, and we will work on that snapshot. So we don't want to keep it in cache. We just want to work with all those aggregates, for instance. So to enforce that, we can make it all value types. Actually, in the long-term version, that's what we did. So that means that some aggregates may be completely value types also.
Can an aggregate root be a value type?
Yeah, the train here.
I thought it was always an entity, the aggregate root.
It's most of the case it's like this, but it was one case where we could have this exception, I would say. Yeah.
Just to be sure, if it was each coach that had to be at most 70% reserved instead of the train, the coach would have been an aggregate.
If we have a invariant business rule to be enforced at the coach level, it may turn it into an aggregate.
You're right, but in the long version, we do that.
So far we improved somehow the web ticket manager, and the reserve method was 3 screens high, full of imperative code with lots of legacy stuff in there. I think we have kind of improved a little bit. It's 1 screen high. It's using the words of the domain within the code, what we call ubiquitous language. We extract some behaviors and we put it into the proper locations, but there is still something that bothers us. Someone has told it before. This is that. We have some JSON, fucking JSON into the domain method. Yeah. And we still return a task of string, which is also a JSON. Yeah. What we would like to do here is to get rid of that JSON string stuff and to replace it by a reserve reservation, so that the reserve method will return a reservation. And then, on the infrastructure side, we will transform the reservation into a JSON version if we have an adapter, if we have something that is on purpose.
Okay.
So I suggest, I will talk a little bit about hexagonal architecture with slides.
I'm sorry, I will work on the code. You don't see, but it will explain.
We'll get back to the code.
Hexagonal architecture, and we explain why we do.
Yeah, okay. So, who is aware of what hexagonal architecture is? Okay, cool. What hexagonal architecture is? It's an architecture pattern made by Alistair Cockburn. I can't remember
a long time ago.
And it has many benefits. It's a pattern but at architectural level. It's allow us to embrace change. It was the first idea of Alistair was to plug and unplug external dependencies, plug and unplug stuff. He was talking about a weather system able to be plugged with many different standards as input and many different standards as output to broadcast news, to broadcast to TV, to radio, to whatever. So it was, his main idea was to have a kind of clean code inside and every changes in terms of I/O or way to interact with the system to be a non-event, to be something like you plug a plugin and you unplug a plugin and that's it. So it's come with, it was introduced by with that idea in mind, but when we think about it, it may allow us that we want to foster on the domain to make some code more value, business value inside, to protect our domain code from the technical stuff. I don't know for you, but during a long time I thought it was not even possible to properly split between domain logic and technical one. We tried many times and we faced a lot, and since I discovered that, that pattern, it's really a nice way to enforce that. And also to enforce testability, because since everything is pluggable and unpluggable, we can stub, we can mock, we can stub the input, output of the systems. Business logic inside, and so for today we will focus much more on how to protect our domain code. How does it work? It works considering the world in two different areas. There is the inside and there is the outside. Simple, right? No thousands of layers, no, simply two areas. The inside is a domain, it's your domain code, like the reserve method, like the train, the reservation item, the stuff like that. And the infrastructure code is at the outside of your system. So this is where you will find your favorite HTTP stack, your database drivers, your message-oriented middleware, favorite solution or whatever. This is the infrastructure side, the infrastructure code. And what we want is to foster and to improve the domain code. So we have, as hexagonal architecture, is some kind of putting some barbed wires around your domain code and defining some entry points to enter and to leave the domain code. So you keep the infrastructure code at the outside. This is a nice capability, actually, because I don't know for you, but when you start your career as a developer, you need to improve your skill. You need to discover new things. You need to do a lot of mistakes. You need to implement your own frameworks in order to realize at one point that there are some silly stuff like implementing our own frameworks, stuff like that. But before you focus on the domain, really, it's still important for some young developers to be able to play in a kind of playground. I'm okay with that as much as it does not jeopardize the business value and the project. And in that case, I'm happy with that because there is a kind of location where you can play. It's a playground, it's an infrastructure code. You can try new technology, new stuff, etc., but without jeopardizing the domain code. So this is what I really like in that pattern. So how does it work? Because there are, barbed wires, but I need to enter and to leave the building, I would say, to leave the domain code. So to do so, in terms of dependencies, all dependencies are towards the inside. Meaning the infrastructure code is aware, can reference domain code, but of course the domain code should not be aware at all at any framework, even JSON stuff, things like that. So the domain is completely independent from any kind of technology, even JSON string or something like that. So to do so, to allow us to move from the inside to the outside to ask new things, to talk with external web APIs and do some stuff, we will rely on ports and adapters. And to do so, we'll actually use the dependency inversion principle. So that from the inside we can go outside and do some stuff. Alistair Cockburn recently discussed with another guy, I can't remember the name, that was suggesting the name of configurable dependencies. What Alistair was saying is dependency inversion principle I don't really like because it's like if negative way of formulating things. It's you used to do that, do the other way around, do the inverse. So he was trying to find a much more fluent intention way of saying that. So they lead us to configurable dependencies. So you plug and unplug your dependencies around your domain. So if we get back to our case here, I said we have ports and adapters to enter and to leave the domain. So ports belongs to the domain, and there are some interfaces like lollipops here. So here I've got the iReserve seats, which is the entry point from the train system. So I ask through an adapter, HTTP adapter, ASP.NET callback. I must call an interface, which is a port, iReserve seat, and I say, please, mate, reserve me something. And I get a reservation, and that adapter will do the adaptation between the reservation and the JSON version, because it's a JSON, it's a REST adapter. So it will be the proper location to do so. When I need to, for my business rule, when I need some extra data, some extra thing, if I am not provided by everything I need from the beginning, there are many ways to do that. But if I say I need to ask one of the external SNCF dependency, you know, the 3 web API we call during the process, we need to exit, we need to ask something to the outside. So to do so, we ask some ports also, but from the inside. There is a iBookSeat interface, there is a iProvideTrain topology interface, and there is a iGetBookingReference interface. These are domain interface. The port still belongs to the domain, reason why the lollipop is in blue, but the adapters is what belongs to the infrastructure. So basically, an adapter is something that maps between the infrastructure code to the domain one, and vice versa. Is it okay for all of you? Yeah? We'll see that in the code in a few minutes. So port and adapter to go in, to go out. Easy, right? Okay, but when we try to implement it the first time, there's tons of questions that arouse, and there are many ways to do so. So we'll show you one. We had to initialize. Well, you had to build. You had to build the stuff. So I've got a metaphor, which is a keyring metaphor, to explain that to my mate. I try to explain to you. First step, we will talk here about the composition root of your application. You know, the place on your application where you build all your dependencies, and then voila, après the system is able to work and to do his work. Okay. So we are talking about the bootstrap of your application here. So 3 steps. First step is to instantiate I need to go out adapters. All the adapters to go to ask to the SNCF backend, please give me a topology, please, etc. So here I represented 2, Trend Data Service Adapter and Booking Reference Service Adapter. These are like keys to go outside and to ask stuff. So first step is to instantiate those keys. Then second step is I've got those keys, I wrap them with the hexagon. I wrap them with the domain. The hexagon is where the domain stands, so it's a web ticket manager. So the web ticket manager will receive within its constructor the ports interface to interact with the outside world. And then we instantiate, we wrap the hexagon with a new adapter, which will be the adapter to be used in order to interact with our system. So it's I need to enter adapter. It's the way to communicate with our application. But once we do that, all we have to keep in our head from an application perspective, from the ASP.NET Web API perspective, all I have to keep in my hand will be the entry point adapters. So all the rest of the hexagon and adapters, it's an implementation details. Once I've built the place, all I have to keep for my web API perspective is that adapter. That is the entry point for my system. Okay? To put it differently, those 3 steps, looking at that diagram. First, we instantiate the adapter we need to go out, so for the 3 backends. Then we wrap them with the hexagon, where the domain logic stands. And then we wrap that domain logic. It's like Russian doll, you know? I need to go out, the hexagon, I need to go in. And at the end of the day, all you keep in your hand is I need to go in. This is the only thing that you need to interact with the system from an application perspective. So all you keep in your hand will be only that adapter that you will inject into your callback, ASP.NET controllers and stuff like that. Okay? You have some question? We will code it, so hope you will have some questions.
So, just to have a look on the new version, you can notice now we have a reservation, and the modification has been to call confirm, because after this line, I know there is no exception, and I can return a reservation. So the modification of the test is there. Here we return a reservation, and I already create a beginning of adapter, the output adapter, with adapt reservation. This function will be called by Thomas in a few minutes.
So you start to move the technical JSON adaptation to the proper place?
Exactly.
Okay. What I suggest is for me to reproduce in that first acceptance test what I will have to do into my bootstrap, my composition route. Okay? So step one is to instantiate the I want to go out adapter. So here, trend data service, for instance, we can even rename it trend data service adapter. Okay.
It's a bad name. It's not the service. The service is over there. It's a proxy too.
And same thing for that adapter. Okay. Step one, I instantiate the dependencies I need to go to the outside world.
Yeah.
All right. Then what I need is to instantiate the hexagon actually. So the hexagon here is a web ticket manager. So let's call it hexagon here for pedagogical perspective.
In real life, you don't call it.
You will call it with a business name. So please don't tell Eric that we did that. But it's to focus on the hexagonal architecture perspective. It's better for me to rename it hexagon here. And then instead of calling directly the hexagon, all I have said before is the application would have to interact with my business logic through an adapter.
Yeah.
So let's introduce it.
Yeah.
Step 3, introduce the I want to go in adapter. So here, what I can do is how can we name it? Seat reservation?
Employer.
Ah, yeah, you already created it. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same name.
Same name. So I will instantiate it. Providing, what should I provide?
Hexagon.
The hexagon. Yeah, I said it's like Russian doll. So those two first were providing to the hexagon here, and the hexagon is provided to the guy. Okay. So I create a constructor because so far you just had made a static functions. Okay.
Maybe you have to make an abstraction and not to inject the web ticket manager.
Yes, actually, yes, you're right. We talk about ports and adapter. Ports are like interfaces. So what I can do maybe is on the web ticket manager here, it's introducing
it's a crappy name. We change after.
So let's create an interface for that, and let's say I reserve seats, something like that.
Yeah. I reserve seats.
No, it's sorry.
Yeah, you.
I used to work on a Mac, so we try to pick a keyboard that reservation seats.
Thomas.
I reserve seats.
You work every day on a PC.
Yes, but not the same keyboard. I reserve seats. I try to find excuses. Bruno, we are in the middle of...
Yeah, the stress.
Yeah. So I add the reserve method on that interface.
Yeah, good.
Here, this is a port. This is a port in order to enter the hexagon. You see what I mean? So getting back to the code, here, what I will provide to the external adapter, it will be the hexagon, but as, oops, go to implementation, as a I reserve seat.
Yeah.
I reserve seat.
Perfect.
Okay, let me keep it into a private field here. I will need it. So I instantiate a reservation adapter. Okay, so third step to instantiate a reservation adapter. Let's introduce a variable for that. Reservation adapter, for instance. Okay. My idea will be to replace that direct call to the hexagon by something going through the adapter. You know. So just to make it compile, I will go to the controller, to web controller, which is the place where I will use that exact same adapter. So in that controller here, I will need to, my entry point will be to get a reservation request DTO. So I will get a reservation request DTO, give it to the adapter, and the adapter will get back to me with a JSON relating to the reservation. Okay. So to do so, I think reservation DTO is not in the proper place.
No.
I won't be able to reference it from the test.
Yeah.
So I suggest that we move that, and maybe it will be, well, in Visual Studio it's quite painful to create projects. It's long, so I will just create directories here. I will create traintrain.domain, all right, and traintrain.infra, so that we can start to split infrastructure or infra. Okay, perfect. So that we are able to split properly every type into the proper location. Move types into matching files for be sure that every file matches to a type. So booking reference service.
What is
Where
it?
should I put? Domain or infra? Booking reference service.
It's a bad name. Normally the name will be different, but
yeah,
infrastructure.
It's an adapter.
It's an adapter.
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
Coach.
Domain, yeah.
Absolutely. Booking reference service.
A domain,
it's an interface, so it's a port.
Yeah.
Actually here, so domain, yeah. I reserve seats.
It's a port.
Support, so
Domain.
yeah. I train data service. Legacy names, but it's a domain. Okay. It's interface.
Yeah.
Reservation.
Domain.
Domain, right. Reservation attempt. Same. Reservation attempt failure. Same thing. Reservation failure also. It's
a domain.
Actually, it's much more something to implement the ubiquitous language. There is no added value more than to have proper name. Seats. Domain.
Domain.
I'm kind of happy because we have more domains than infrastructure, which is not the case in all my projects so far. So seat JSON POCO.
Infra.
Seat reservation adapter. Adapter is part of the infrastructure code. Yeah, absolutely. Threshold train capacity. Domain. Yeah. Absolutely. Even if we can improve the name. Train is a domain. Oops. And what do we have? Train data service. Infrastructure is an adapter, actually. Yeah. And web ticket manager, domain. It's our hexagon. But so far, it still has some two HTTP references that we will get rid. Oh, sorry. What did I do? No, it's okay. So let's put into the. Let's keep it in the middle. Whoops. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's keep it into the middle before we completely clean the house and put it into the domain.
Adjust the namespace.
Sorry?
Adjust the namespace.
Yeah, I will adjust the namespace here for the project, so that everyone will be at the proper location. Okay. So what I was saying is I will from the train system should. Getting back to the test. Okay. I said that I would like to introduce a way to interact with the reservation adapter. So let's say it's it's a post DTO. There is a better name to find, but new reservation request DTO?
I don't know if you move it.
Ah, no, I didn't move. Thanks, Bruno. So, reservation request DTO. Here, I have to move because it's on the bad project. Move to folder. I move to /infrastructure. Infrastructure. Okay. So now I will be able to reference it from the test. Otherwise, it will be part of the web API, which has no reference so far. Okay. So here I will instantiate a new reservation request DTO. This is ASP.NET Framework, which used to instantiate that for me, but number of seats here will be seats requested count. Yeah. And then the other train ID. Yeah. So here I'm setting the equivalent of the JSON we receive as the input. It's a POCO for it. And it will be train ID here. Is in my train? Yeah. Okay, so here I post a new request DTO. Maybe let's make it a variable to make it clearer. Introduce variable, sorry. So I've got a reservation request DTO, okay. And then I post the reservation request DTO to the adapter. I want to go in adapter. Create method, okay, I create the method. And instead of returning a void, I will return maybe a string. Yeah. Which will be the JSON I will. I can return something much more like ASP.NET internal structure to make a response, but I won't go into that here. But reservation request DTO, okay. So here I'm in the post method. Yeah. That should return me var JSON. Yeah. JSON reservation, something like that.
Why not? Yeah.
So the adapter will return me that, and I will assert on that. Yeah. So instead of all that, JSON reservation should be equal to that JSON.
That's the objective, the target.
You know that, yeah. So it's still red because I didn't plug the adapter. So an adapter has 3 steps to instantiate the entire hexagonal architecture. But when I'm in every method of the adapter, I have 3 steps basically. First step is to adapt from the infrastructure to the domain. Second step is to call the business logic. And then the third step is to adapt from domain answer to the infrastructure and to return it. Yeah. You know what is it about in every method of adapter? So let's make it here. In that case, I don't have to adapt here, so I will just introduce some new variables for the number of seats and reservation request.
In a real life, maybe you have to serialize yourself, and we simulate this step because ASP.NET does that for us. But sometimes you have to translate the JSON in local variable for a domain object.
So here what I just did is to get some variables, but this is where you will have to translate, transform, adjust, whatever it takes to be able to call the domain logic code. So now I call the hexagon, so hexagon.reserve. It's a business domain method, and I put it local variable that I get and number of seats. And number of seats, let me call me requested. Yeah. It will be more. Okay. I call the hexagon. It's return me reservation.
It's an async call.
Yeah, it's a reservation, but since it's an async method, I will have to await that and to. It's some.
Idiomatic C# to obtain an asynchronous call.
But since the reserve method is async, because it's called other async method, I have to do so. And then adapt from infra to. This is the method Bruno already done.
Yeah, adapt
reservation. Yeah. I provide a reservation and I get some string.
And you have to return.
Yeah, I have to return. You see, I get a reservation from the business logic, and then what I do is to adapt back from the domain to the JSON infrastructure. This is still red. What did I miss? Here.
Have a look. You have to add an await
also because of,
await.
This is Mexican version. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's green. Sorry, it was a async await issue. But
it's time to implement in SPNet.
So here, as you can see, within one acceptance test, we have done what we have to do is in the composition route of the application. I don't know what you want to do. We have less than 10 minutes, I think. That point should be the one that we will put into the setup of the application. So I can do that, plug it into the web ASP, but maybe it's better to keep some time for questions or for kind of wrap up. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Otherwise, I think I will have to run because I will kind of a little bit late.
Yeah.
So. Wrap up. We started from a situation like this. We have a web ticket manager with a very procedural code. Do this and then do that and then do this. And after we led to some more consistent and more, I don't know what to say, not short code. More clean code also. After the reserve method was kind of something like this. I think it's pretty much what we achieved. What's important is that we embrace the language of our domain within our code. It was legacy code, very crappy. And when if we had time to execute and depend, we will have less warnings.
We can
show you just in a second. Just in front, yeah. So our code now is talking about reservation, about train, reservation attempt, whether or not it's fulfilled. You see, it's much. Even if our domain expert is not able to read our code, we can read our code in front of him, and being able to have a discussion, and he's being able to say no, this is not what I want for that system, etc. So there is less friction, there is less gaps between what we implement and what he was talking about. So it's better if you want to follow him. We had some independent, we'll show you it in a few seconds, but just before that, because it takes time to switch. As a final wrap-up, we didn't have time to make you feel that because our domain expert is in Paris. And our first version was with him on stage, but it's crucial to talk to your domain expert. Yeah. Most of the project has issue because developers are not even allowed to or able to talk to domain experts. So for me, it's a no-go. I switch. Yeah. I decided not to go to the project if it's like this. But it wasn't the case at the beginning of my career. So it takes courage, time, determination to enforce that. But it's crucial. Otherwise, it's not as efficient. Don't be done by the legacy. Because I'm a coach and I learn how to refactor the code. Generally, people, when there is dependencies, said my code is not testable. Actually, we can test any code. So don't be daunted by legacy. You may have some cost to do so, but it costs time, but it's doable. Yeah, and also we don't use a lot of techniques here. We basically use two basic techniques from the refactoring book of Martin Fowler. It's extract and move methods. So it's pretty much simple. As soon as you have a test harness, which is the first steps, you can extract and move very, very easily. The more complicated is to find some proper semantic and to invest in your domain design. We have great track of improvement suggested by some of you. Yes, this is something that is a living and iterating. You have been very interactive with that, so thank you very much.